Hey, welcome to the Taking L's podcast.
What it do?
We're glad you're back. Or if you're here for the first time, my name's Dillon. This is Braylon.
What it do?
And we love to have conversations. That's why we started a podcast. We're like, hey, we love to talk. Let's just record it.
Let's do it.
But specifically, we love to laugh. We love to talk about life. We consider ourselves lifelong learners because we're always making mistakes. Hence the name of this podcast, Taking L's. But you can always learn from your mistakes and especially learn how to be a better leader. You may not be in an organizational leadership role. You may not have anyone at your job that thinks that you're a leader. But even just if you think that you're a leader, there's a leader inside of every one of us to lead ourselves, to lead our families, to lead friends, to lead your pets, to lead whatever you lead, and
To lead your pets.
hey, whatever. And we want to help the best leader inside of you come out. And so part of these conversations is this is something we are consistently trying to learn is how can we be the best leaders? How can we make the most of life? You're 29, I'm 28, and we haven't arrived, but we love at least talking about it. Not talking about arriving, but talking about life and consistently learning from it. So
What it do? We like to start out like why am I on that?
how many times can you do what it do?
I'm going to try to do it a lot. So
Literally.
buckle up.
So me and Braylon FaceTime a lot.
We do.
And I FaceTime Braylon the other day and I literally scream into the FaceTime. I'm like, what it is? And all of a sudden I hear in the background like, what was that? And Braylon was still on a work meeting while he answered my FaceTime. Hopefully whoever you're on the work meeting isn't listening to this podcast.
She could be. I told her about the pod today, actually.
Oh, great. Well, hey, it's good to meet you officially since Braylon failed to acknowledge that was me.
We were finishing up the meeting, like we were saying our goodbyes.
It wasn't like in the middle.
We were saying our corporate goodbyes, you know?
Yep.
So my goal was to answer you and put the meeting on mute to tell you, hey, I'm on the meeting, and then put you on mute and unmute the meeting. But my fingers went fast.
Classic double mute.
Yeah,
I've done that.
The double muter.
Yeah. Big work from home technique these days.
You get it. Which we're actually going to talk a lot about in this pod, which is titled, I always have to check to make sure I say the right title. You Can't See This. That's the title of this episode. And we start off every single episode with the fun segment. Dillon, tell us what we're doing today.
We're doing a draft. We love drafts. I think it's one
love
of our favorite segments. And one of the things we were thinking about, this title, You Can't See This, is the professions, the things that go unseen but mean the most.
Yep.
So we are going to be drafting the most underrated jobs, meaning like if we didn't have those people, I don't know what we would do. So we're going to draft the most underrated jobs and whoever drafts the best workforce. Ooh, look at that. Not a team workforce.
Ooh, a workforce.
We'll put polls on the IG. Our last draft, you won. Yep. That's okay. I got a lot of flack for my lazy day on that last draft.
Yeah, it wasn't the best.
I got a lot of texts like, hey, man, that's not a lazy day. That's just called a day off. Like there's a difference.
Because you said golf. That's what really got you.
Yeah, it really threw me off. Yeah, just people came at me, man.
As you deserve it.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, so we're drafting the most underrated jobs. Do you want to start us off?
I do.
Great.
Most underrated job. Number one. I'm torn on who should be my number one pick.
Great.
I'm going to go housekeeping service at a hotel.
Ooh.
Has to be number one. Because think about it, right? You never really see them. But you come back into your hotel room after a day of your vacation or your work, you know, whatever you're doing.
Yes.
Come back, bed's made, bathrooms clean, fresh towels folded. Maybe if you left some shoes out, shoes are put away in the corner. You got a fresh little mint or chocolate on your pillow.
Ooh, gotta love that.
And they play such a major role in your stay and your vacation, but you don't even necessarily know the impact they're having. How good does it feel to walk into a made bed?
It's literally one of the main reasons my wife always wants to go with a hotel over an Airbnb.
Yep.
Because she's like, at an Airbnb, I got to clean it. I have to make the bed. Well, she says but like you get it. Like,
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. My first pick.
Great.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. You're excited, so that makes me excited.
First pick. The garbage man.
Ooh, that's what I was going between.
Were you? Okay. Because here's the thing. I started thinking about the implications of no garbage man.
Okay.
I am bringing all of my garbage to the dump every single time I have too much garbage.
Which is terrible.
And think about like You probably, if you're an average person, you're probably putting about 2 or 3 bags of garbage in your garbage can a week.
Yep.
And I don't know about you, at the end of the week, my garbage can smells. So like you're not letting that garbage sit in your house or in your garage or in your backyard or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely not.
So you're going to the dump once a week yourself to bring the garbage.
And you're putting it in your car. Now your car smells. Sometimes the bag has like juices and things dropping out.
Like all of a sudden, like some like broken thing like slits the bag and like,
that was a good one. See, I was really torn between garbage man or housekeeping.
I think they have a technical term. It's like a sanitation expert or something like that. I like that. Something like that. I've heard that before.
Okay, DJ Khaled. I like that.
I like that.
Okay, so you had garbage man. I had housekeeping. My second pick. Usually with the drafts, I have it fully written out. I'm going on the fly on this one.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, this is great.
Because I don't have my notebook. It's still in the box. If you listen to the last podcast.
On the fly drafts. Here we go. Anesthesiologist.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Anesthesiologist?
You said it better the first time. That was close enough too.
Okay, great. The people that put you under when you're having a surgery.
Wow.
Think about your surgical experience without being knocked out.
Wow.
That's called getting cut open. That's awful.
Yes.
And they don't get enough credit. It's like, I had this surgery. Thanks, doctors. No one ever writes their anesthesiologist. I should stop saying it. A thank you card.
That's so true. The next time I'm like put under at the dentist or major surgery, I'm writing the anesthesiologist a card.
Because it would be a very, very painful experience if you weren't knocked out.
Yo, the worst is when you go to the dentist is like notorious for this. When you go to the dentist and you're not like fully out.
Oh, it's awful.
Oh gosh. It's one of my biggest fears.
Or I had a surgery once where I was totally numb, but my eyes were open.
Oh.
Yeah, that was weird. Because like you can hear things.
Yo.
And you're like kind of there, but you can't feel anything. It's a weird.
Have you seen that movie where they like plot against the guy and they like don't fully put him under during like I think it's like open heart surgery or like something. It's this like weird movie.
Is it like Saw 14?
No. It's I don't know. Cody, do you know what movie I'm talking about?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
It actually was like popular when it came out. Whatever. Okay, my number 2 pick.
Okay. That was a good number 2 I had.
That was a great number 2. That could have been your number 1. That was a great pick. My number 2 pick is cooks / chefs. Cooks, chefs, whatever you refer to them.
I feel like they get credit. My compliments to the chef, pretty well-known saying.
Well, here's the thing. I think well-known chefs. So I'll say cooks.
Okay.
I think chefs. Chefs get credit.
Yeah.
Well-known chefs, good restaurants, they get the credit. You don't think about your average line cook. Like when you're going to the Cheesecake Factory, just shout out to the Cheesecake Factory, worked there for 7 years. Wow.
Yikes.
It's a big chunk of my life. But no one's going to the Cheesecake Factory and being like, hey, compliments to the line cook. You know, like, they're just like, that was great. Got a good meal. Like so many restaurants are fueled by cooks that give countless hours to make you food so that you don't have to make your own food.
This is good.
And I love eating out personally.
So do I.
Really grateful for cooks. And if cooks did not exist, that would really interrupt my eating out experience. And I love eating out a lot. So cooks is number 2.
That's great. I have a very unique one for my third pick. It's so unique, I don't even know what you would call these people.
Okay.
But the specific construction guys that repaint the lines in the road.
Fun fact, one of my dad's best friends has a business that does that.
Okay, what are they called?
I have no idea. I just know he makes mad money.
They were out here repainting my neighborhood, fire lines and stuff.
Yeah.
And it needed to be repainted so bad that there was somebody in my neighborhood that's been parking in this one spot for years, didn't even know it was a fire line. But I was just thinking about like, when you drive on an old road and you can't really see the lines, just how dangerous that is. Well, you feel much safer and you can drive better on a road with fresh, bold, yellow paint lines and things on there. So I think they're underrated. Because if they didn't exist, Car accidents.
That's a really good one.
Yeah. On the fly, thought of that. Ba-da-ba-da. What it do?
I think that was the fourth time.
Shut up.
Okay. Underrated workforce. Pick number 3. The people that get the bags to your airplane and from your airplane.
Oh, that's so good. Cody, how great is that?
Think about that one.
Yeah.
Like imagine if you had to do that yourself. Like, hey, now that you've checked in, we're going to let you go through that door and you can carry your heavy bag.
Yep.
And you're going to have to get it on the airplane yourself. And now that you've landed at your destination, before you can get to your tropical vacation, you're going to go out to the 100-degree tarmac in Hawaii and get your bag out yourself. Good luck sorting it from the other 150 bags.
Okay, but some people would actually like that because that would ensure that their bag wouldn't get lost. And if you've had a lost bag travel experience before, you know how crappy of a situation that is.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you've been to summer camp before?
Every summer my entire life.
You know, like the frenzy of getting your bag when you get
Yeah.
off the bus and you're like a middle schooler fighting all other middle schools to get in for your bag.
Yeah.
Imagine that with like grown adults.
I was the over-the-top camp counselor that I would grab all my guys' bags, you know.
Oh, you're like, yo, I got you.
I got you.
What it do?
What it do?
Okay. So that was my number 3 pick. What is your 4th and final pick?
Okay. I'm going in between a couple. Production Cody, you've picked up the mic like 4 different times and haven't said anything. So I'm curious to whatever knowledge or information you have found out back
Cody,
there.
just give us a pick that we haven't mentioned yet, and you'll just completely rob it from our ability to pick it.
Think podcast producers.
Oh man. I think we can wrap up this episode. So as you leave, don't forget who's in front of you.
Oh my goodness. That got me so good.
That was great.
Cody's still dying laughing if
Yep.
you can't see him.
Okay, number 4.
That was really good.
I'm gonna go. This is a very specific one, and I don't know if it's that good. My draft so far has been, in my opinion, awesome. That I feel like I have some wiggle room here.
Okay. Take a risk.
I'm gonna go veterinarians.
Ooh.
Specifically,
I feel like they get a decent amount of credit.
you're right, but specifically, I took my little dog that I'm still trying to give away to the vet a couple years ago, and she had something was wrong with her butt that she couldn't poop because like
I don't know why I just started laughing instantly.
her like anus was swollen or something, or her like little pockets of fluid had to be emptied.
What it do?
So,
This is the worst timing.
so I watched the vet put a glove on her finger,
Oh God.
take that finger, stick it in like a tub of lotion,
Oh God.
stick it up my dog's butt, and go around and
This
find
is so
her,
much information.
find the lymph nodes, if you will. I think those are them. I don't know. Swollen glands. That's what I'm looking
There you
for.
go, there you go.
The glands within her rectum
Wow.
were filled with some type of liquid substance that was blocking her poop from being able to come out.
Wow.
This apparently is common with dogs, says this vet that I'm thankful for.
Wow.
So she took her finger, emptied out said glands with her finger, rubbed it along the rectum wall. Gross. What'd it do? And then the glands were emptied, and then my dog kind of pooped uncontrollably for like a couple seconds, and everything was good. We were all fixed.
Yo.
And I pick a vet off of that story alone of like, you could not pay me. Maybe you could. I think I would do that if I needed to, now that I say that.
How much would you have to get paid? You're doing that. Like you're a vet that specializes in dog rectum.
And I do it every day
you do
for
it
dogs
every
that
day.
aren't my dog.
Yes.
See, I would do it for my dog because my wife loves my dog so much, and I love my wife that I want to be her hero.
Yeah. You're getting paid to do it for other people's dogs. How much would you need to get paid?
To be a rectum gland cleaner.
So disgusting.
I would clean out 4 rectums a day, 5 days a week I'd want $125K a year.
Wow. I was expecting the number to be higher.
No, I feel like I'd be well off. And how hard could my job be if I'm only cleaning out 4 rectums a day?
Wow.
That's like 8 a.m. rectum, a 10 a.m. rectum. I got an afternoon 1 o'clock rectum, and then I got my EOD 3 o'clock glanale rectum at the end of the day, and then boom, you just do that 4 more times a week, and then 125K. I'll take that.
Dang. You come home and Carly's like, babe, how was your day? You know, it's pretty simple. Had a poodle, okay, we're going too far into this.
But with 125K, I could maybe move into the new neighborhood you moved into.
Okay,
so it would be.
Please get out of here. You're a joke. Oh, man. Gosh. Okay, number 4, my fourth and final pick.
Yes.
Underrated jobs. I'm going to say the mechanic. Because I think about this.
We pay them enough money that they're not underrated.
Well, okay. An anesthesiologist
Every time I go to a mechanic
makes a good amount of money too. But
True.
I guess
But you don't pay the anesthesiologist. Technically through medical bills.
Yeah, you do one way or another.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're right. I'll shut up.
Yeah, it's, whatever. But
Mechanic.
I just think about it. Mechanic.
Yep.
Like, if there's not someone to take care of my car, I'm not going to drive. I don't know how to take care of my car.
Totally.
And that would just basically be like I just take Uber everywhere. So if there's no mechanics,
Which is my life, and I don't mind it. So that kind of proves that your pick wasn't that good. Hey, go on the Taking L's Instagram, and on the story, you'll have 2 options. Pick who you think drafted the
most underrated workforce.
the most underrated workforce, or the workforce that you appreciate more.
Okay, so what was your 4 again?
My 4. Let me read them to you. Housekeeping. Anesthesiologists. Road painters.
Yep, that's good.
And vets, specifically rectum gland cleaners.
Ooh, okay. And I had garbage men. I had line cooks.
Great.
And then I had baggage people at the airport.
Yep.
And then I had mechanics.
I can't wait to see the text that I get from my mother after we talked about rectum glands on dogs for a solid 7 minutes.
My wife's going to be ashamed.
Well, I saw it with my own 2 eyes, and I can't unsee that.
Yeah.
So
it is what it is.
it's a part of my life now, guys.
Sorry, Maddie. At least we didn't talk about orca whales eating a moose. Like, how many episodes in a row can we get that in?
Oh, it's really good.
Okay.
That leads us to our L of the week. Doot.
Wow, we were synchronized on that one.
That was good.
What it do?
What it do? You could tell.
I stopped that one.
Yeah. This is our L of the week. It's a moment where we've lost, where we can laugh at ourselves. And I think this L of the week is actually going to be relatable for just about everyone listening.
Yeah.
Obviously, this pandemic, COVID-19, has forced all of us into a new normal.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, most people are now working from home.
Yep.
I am blessed, Dylan. You are blessed with jobs that we didn't lose because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Our jobs were able to pivot, and now we do everything from home. We do everything online. We do everything digital.
Yep.
And I know what your life looks like. I know what my life looks like. It's safe to say our work life right now lives and dies by Zoom meetings.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Calls. A lot of video calls.
A lot of video calls. And you, the listener, if you work from home, you are probably shaking your head in aggressive agreement right now because 2020 is the year of Zoom. It's the year of Google Meets. It's the year of FaceTimes. It's the year of any other apps that have been made for group video conferencing calls.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
GoToWebinar. All these other things that my company uses.
We just use Zoom and Google Meets. That's it.
Yeah. We use actually a ton of different ones.
Yeah.
But I was joking the other day about how like pre-COVID going to work was getting dressed head to toe.
Yeah.
And post-COVID going to work is getting dressed belly button up.
Oh, for sure.
Because all that people see is just all you have to be good to like show you're ready to be at work is just literally like your waist up and like your shoulders.
Oh.
And that's all.
Absolutely.
And I don't know about you, but I've been on so many Zoom meetings and Google meetings where like I'm not actually like in a spot where I'm ready for it, but I just have to make sure that what they can see in the camera looks good.
Yeah.
And that's it. To the point that the other day I was in a one-on-one meeting with someone and I really badly had to go to the bathroom.
Oh my God.
And I
one-on-one.
And I thought I could finish going to the bathroom before this meeting started. Luckily, I took my laptop with me because I'm smart. I realized as I'm in my bathroom situation, I'm not going to finish that said bathroom situation by the time my 1:30 meeting started. So I open up my laptop and I open up to the meeting, but I just turn my camera off. Mm-hmm. So it's just voice, which depends on who's leading the meeting. Some people are okay with that. Some people aren't. Well, I turned it on. This is a different guy that I'm not used to having meetings with because usually I'm a camera on guy always.
Yep.
What about you?
Oh, for sure. Camera on.
It actually bothers me when people don't have their
Shows
camera
you're
on.
engaged.
Yep.
You can give like facial reactions even without verbal reactions. And it just shows you're paying attention in the conversation.
So I'm a big camera on guy.
Yep.
And for this particular meeting, I know my camera on because remember where I'm at, I'm in a bathroom situation. So we kind of do our, hey, what's up? And he goes, hey, man, if you don't mind, could you turn your camera on?
Here comes Braylon on the toilet. What'd he do?
What'd he do? Rectum gland cleaner. Well, now I'm very embarrassed. And I'm like, what do I say? So I acted like I didn't hear him. And I just like kept talking about like, I was trying to get us into the meeting.
Yeah.
And so like 2 minutes later, he's like, hey, by the way, like, do you mind, like, can you turn your camera on? Like, we want to do some screen shares and stuff, which I don't know why I need my camera on to do some screen shares, but he's a camera on guy. I get it.
Yep.
And he could tell me what to do. So I was like, cool. Luckily at that point, he asked me again, right as I finished washing my hands. So I open up the door. I'm walking out of the bathroom. He says it. I turn my camera on and then I walk back to my desk and major,
close call there.
close call. Let's just say we avoided a crappy situation. If you see what I did there.
Wow.
Yep. So that was my L of the week, was just being caught in a bad space for a work meeting. But I was thinking about
Probably the worst space you could get caught in.
the absolute worst
Top
space.
3 at least.
The worst space. I know you you just moved, and so you haven't like showered for your work meetings.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I thought about it the other day. I was like, oh gosh, we moved. We were unpacking our towels. We used them to move. So they hadn't gotten washed. And all of a sudden I realized, I was like, oh my God, it's been like 3 days and I haven't taken a shower yet. I'm like, who would ever go to work for 3 days without taking a shower? Not me normally.
Well, here you are.
And here I am on a Zoom
2020
call.
unprecedented times.
No one can smell you. So
It's fantastic. I was looking on Twitter the other day and I saw these memes of like all these things that are on the other side of the camera, like all these work from home memes.
so good.
And even if you're watching on YouTube right now, we have this cool like little video set up. If I was to turn the camera, just literally take you over 2 centimeters, not 2 centimeters, 2 inches.
Yeah.
You would see a stack of old clothes we need to give away, our outdoor patio furniture, some baby items. Like, it looks like we're in this cool little studio setup. But if you were just to turn the camera, you would see that I have pushed a lot of things to the side. I do the same thing with work meetings. Like, today on my desk, I had like a bowl from my breakfast that was dirty and gross. I had a bowl from lunch. I had a bowl from like 4 days ago. I have 3 coffee cups that were like hidden on my desk somewhere.
Calling Carly. Help him, please.
And I had my phone open to this game I was playing while I was in the meeting. But from what they could see in the meeting,
Such great meeting etiquette.
what they could see in the meeting,
I'm just giving you credit.
I was fully in. I didn't have any, right? But if I was just to turn the camera
Yep.
just a little bit, they would see kind of all the things I was
true.
trying to hide. Even took a meeting while I was watching my son the other day and like literally moved a toy out of the background so they just couldn't see his toy. And I just moved it just literally 2 inches and now it's out of the shot. And even thinking about how much effort I put into making sure the shot looks good, making sure that it looks like I'm not working down in my basement when I'm talking to customers for my company and I have a full stack of all these things right here. I want you to think I'm in a professional space.
Yeah.
I'm glad you don't know I have 6 coffee cups that are literally right next to my laptop. And I put so much energy into making sure that what you can see looks good.
Yeah.
And it has kind of got me thinking, and I really want to kind of transition us into our conversation today about just, you can't see this. Like, what things in life are we pushing out that other people can't see? Mm-hmm. Like, what maybe insecurities do we have that when the quote unquote camera turns on and you're doing life with people and you're doing a relationship with people and people are seeing you, what things are you putting so much energy into to like make sure, hey, this new relationship I'm starting, I don't want them to see that insecurity, so I'm going to scoot it out of the way. Or this job that I have, like I don't want them to see this insecurity, or maybe this addiction that I have, or this weakness that I have. I don't want them to see that. And so I found myself literally the other day putting more energy into moving the freaking dishes in a spot where the camera couldn't see them, and moving a couple other things, than just going and like cleaning up the dishes, or like putting some effort into making sure I had a good, like,
You put more energy into hiding the mess than cleaning the mess.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I think in life, there's so many of us that are that way. Like, if we could just take the camera of your life and some of your relationships and just pivot it 2 centimeters one way or 2 centimeters the other way, what would we find? Mm-hmm. What insecurities, what weaknesses would we find that you're just tucking off to the side so that certain people cannot see those things?
It's such a good conversation. And as we even started...
Because I have them.
No, me too. And that's why I think it's such a good conversation. It's so relevant to us. And I think we're even taking a step back to just acknowledge something. We are all humans.
Yep.
And by being a human, if you didn't know this, it means you're not perfect.
Yep.
We all have imperfections and we all have things. But yeah, what's so funny about our humanity is we love to put on a front like we don't have these things wrong with us.
For sure.
And I don't know what it is. It's almost like something that kind of needs to be broken in a way in our society of like, we have to put on this front. I believe in being respectable and presentable, and there's certain things about that that's sure, whatever.
Yeah.
But there's something where we feel like we consistently have to hide the things that are not okay and not right. And I think this conversation, part of the goal is for anyone listening to go, I don't know if I need to hide all that. In fact, I actually might be healthier and I might be better if I was willing to show some of the mess, show some of the things I'm struggling with. What would it look like if I actually told somebody something that I'm insecure about so that they could help me work on it? What if I told someone a fear so that they could help me work through that fear?
Can I ask you a completely off-the-cuff question that I know you're unprepared for?
Love completely off-the-cuff questions I'm unprepared
What's your biggest insecurity right now?
Oh, my biggest insecurity. I'll tell you my biggest insecurity is I lead a team at my job, and I have people on my team that have even more experience than me and are older than me. And I'd say my biggest insecurity would be asking myself, like, what makes me qualified to lead this team? And that's definitely something I think I've, had to work through. And I think one of the biggest things now, just all of a sudden applying it to myself, it's one of the biggest things has been talking about it.
Yeah.
Like not being afraid to admit that, like actually saying out loud to people that I respect, even like the person that I work for. I think I've talked to you about this. I've talked to other people and been like, yeah, it's definitely something. And I remember one person had said to me like, hey, you realize like if you weren't a good fit for this role, you wouldn't have gotten the role. So be confident because you were given the role. And I think it's amazing how even just a simple statement like that, it could like help diffuse and maybe not completely, but help make that insecurity just feel a little smaller than it was before, or maybe even a lot smaller. And it's wild what happens when you just talk to somebody about it. Do you kind of relate to that a little bit?
Totally. I think insecurities are so powerful, at least for me, when they're in the dark.
Yeah.
And the moment that you talk about an insecurity, at least I have found, and we all process different.
Yep,
So
yep.
again, by no means are we coming at this as if we're the expert of insecurities. At least for me, how I process them is when I talk about them, it takes their power away.
Yeah.
For me, my biggest
Wow, that's such a good statement.
my biggest insecurity at the moment is
I'm glad you're saying it. I was about to ask you.
being a dad of a 10-month-old. And one of my wife's love languages is quality time. So having a 10-month-old has just taken up a lot of time and energy and effort. And my wife and I, one of our big things is like what we do together. So we like to spend a lot of time with each other. Quality time's a big deal. We like to just do things all together. And then now with quarantine of like being home, I don't feel that I'm as available to my friends, especially some close friendships that I have as I once was. And I've gotten insecure about my placement or relationship with them. So my biggest insecurity at the moment is my availability, or have I disappointed people or just not been a good enough friend because of my lack of availability.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of a weird one, but like for me, that's what I've been so insecure over. I was actually texting a friend that I haven't talked to in a long time, and I was feeling so insecure over just like our text conversation because I felt like this feels so disingenuous because I actually haven't asked him how he's doing in like 4 months. Or I had another friend, and I'm just airing all my stuff out, but I had another friend who texted me 2 nights ago. And he texted me a photo of my favorite beer that he got and was like, hey, I'm thinking about you. And it took me 2 days to text the freaking guy back. Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
And so even in that text message back, just insecure of like, I'm not as available to my friends as I want to be or I once was.
Yeah.
And that's not like a pity me thing or anything like that. That's just working out priorities and time management and all of that, which I'm doing, but just kind of feeling insecure on specifically my being a good friend for people I've been a good friend to.
Yeah. So like in those situations, what do you feel like is even helping you right now or could help you with kind of what you're feeling about these insecurities about relationships and friendships and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think won this conversation, and I just recently even put my thumb on what it was. I just kind of found myself, even with some really close friends in my life, of like, why do I feel like I'm not as close to them right now? Or like, why do I feel like, just even our insecurities can lead us to weird thoughts and weird decisions, right?
All of a sudden it leads you down a road that you're creating
like,
and making
they
up.
like all these other people more. They're closer to them right now. I'll just let them, do that. And I just found myself in this cycle to the point that I was like, there has to be something here. So just even these last couple of days, I'm like, what is this thing that is making me not want to text this guy back? Like, it wasn't that I had zero time. It was like, I just felt like, oh, he's thinking about me. I haven't thought about him in a week. Like, what do I say?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that I had this jam-packed calendar. It was just that I wasn't feeling like good enough to text him back. So I think talking about it and just being confident in the fact that, like, I don't think that they really care or even notice as much as I do. And also just acknowledging, like, if I'm not intentional about stopping that, then it's not going to stop. And then this is just going to continue and carry over.
Can I give you another remedy? Because I think a lot of people might even relate to this.
This is great.
It's being yourself.
Yeah.
Who you are has changed. It hasn't changed. But who you are actually has changed.
Yeah.
Because you're no longer the unmarried guy friend. You're no longer the married guy who has more time.
Yeah.
You now are a dad.
Yeah.
Who you are has changed because you're now a dad.
Totally.
And at the end of the day, if someone's frustrated that, and I don't think anyone is, if someone's listening to this, whoever the beer person is, if you're listening, I don't think no one's frustrated with each other, right? But if someone's frustrated with you because you can hang out less because now you're a dad, to be honest, I think that's on the other person.
Yeah.
Not on you. But oftentimes I think with our insecurities, we choose to make it about us.
Yeah.
Because we know us. We can be introspective. We can think about the situation. But I think for you and myself and a lot of people that's listening, I think we just got to be confident with who we are and recognize that I think there's a lot more people out there willing to accept us for who we are, accept you for your circumstance of being a dad and having less free time.
Totally.
I think there's going to be more people that are willing to understand that than maybe you would maybe admit or even know.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be more people that would understand my circumstance. There's going to probably be more people that will understand whoever's listening, your insecurity and circumstance. But I think one of the most important steps is we can just own it. And we can just be like, do you know what? Not like saying this is who I am by like defining myself by this insecurity, but recognizing like, do you know what? Like, I'm confident in who I am.
Totally.
I'm confident in who maybe I've called to be or the role that I'm in right now or whatever it is. And like, sometimes that confidence can help push off those insecurities.
For sure.
And just trust that the people in your life, man, they're going to love you. They're going to, I love the people that walk around just thinking that they're loved by everybody.
Yep.
Like, I actually think that like, I admire that. There's people that I know that are like that. And I'm like, I think that's so cool. Like, how do you walk around just thinking everyone wants to be friends?
Yeah.
And what's amazing is you meet those people and like a lot of people want to be their friend because they just don't carry this like this fear or this worry of like, what if they don't like me because of this? Or what if I offended them because of that? They're just like, oh, we're cool. We're cool. I think there's a value in just being comfortable in your own skin.
For sure.
Being comfortable in your season of life and being comfortable even in your mess to be able to say like, do you know what? Let's be friends. Take me as I am, but let's build a relationship.
Well, I love that you said that. To go even back to our analogy of kind of like, what are you hiding? Going back to the camera of like just what's 2 inches away. The best relationships turn the camera.
Yes.
The healthiest relationships have cameras that swivel.
Yep.
And if you're scared to bring things in or to allow the camera to swivel, then that's going to actually put some roadblocks on how deep of relationships you can actually have. Like, I can't have a healthy marriage unless that camera is fully swiveling. So I even need to get to the point that like, if I want to hide it or not, my relationship actually calls on the fact that, hey, I want you to see all of this.
Yes.
And until we can even get big enough people, maybe you're someone listening today and you're trying to figure out why your relationships kind of keep hitting the same barrier. I would even think through, are there some insecurities that you're hiding that when the relationship maybe starts to magnify those insecurities, it's done. Then you turn off on the inside or things like that.
And it might not even be insecurities. It might be fear.
Yep.
It might be secrets.
Yep.
It might be, there's a lot
weaknesses.
of things. Yeah. Like those things, it's for some reason we're so unwilling to just hold an open hand and be like, here you go, take a look at this.
Yeah.
Like you think about it, like when you started dating Carly and I started dating Maddie, like I don't think either one of us on our first dates were like, hey, let me tell you about all my past relationships and all the mistakes I made.
Yeah, I kind of did because I had to, but
okay, so that was probably help, but you probably felt like, you know what, I need to do this because it's actually healthy for this relationship.
For sure.
And so I guess there's some give or take there. But you know, I think I love that you said the best relationships are a camera that's on a swivel.
Yep.
Where you're so willing to just with ease say, do you know what? We're close. Can I tell you about something that I'm kind of afraid of right now?
Yeah.
And would you maybe help me out with this or kind of talk me off a ledge?
Yep.
There's been so many times both of us has come to each other with something and said like, man, I'm kind of dealing with this right now. And it's like, all it takes is the other person being like, you realize like, you don't really need to worry about that. Or like, hey, actually no one thinks that about you.
Yeah.
Or like, you're making a way bigger deal of this than you need to.
It doesn't even have to be a conversation. I think it's just even being your true self.
Yep.
And showing those weaknesses or showing those fears or showing those insecurities. I think I have a great question for us kind of as we wrap up here, Dylan. You being in a leadership position, how do we lead and set the atmosphere of a team that encourages people to bring their stuff within the camera? How do we encourage or lead a team that encourages people to kind of bring in and show who their true selves are and not make sure that we're just having a good little 4x4 camera shot?
Yeah. I think two things. One, I think start with yourself.
Love it.
I think whether you lead a team,
start with yourself. Write that down. It'll pop up on the app.
Whether you lead a team, whether it's a relationship you're in, whether it's your marriage. I think starting with yourself. Like if I was to look at my relationship with Maddie and go, man, I wish like both of us were more vulnerable with each other. Do you know where it should start? I shouldn't be just waiting on Maddie to be more vulnerable with me. I should just start being more vulnerable with Maddie. And I think what that leads to is that person going like, wow, they feel so comfortable with me that they would open up about how they're feeling. I now feel more safe to open up how I'm feeling.
Think about how much time we even as people waste on waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting for someone to reach out,
Yep.
waiting for someone to notice, waiting for someone to apologize, waiting for someone to invite, waiting for, we just
Yeah.
waste so much time
That's so true.
waiting on things that we could actually be initiating. So
Yeah.
you had two things. That was your first one. What's your second?
So one, be vulnerable yourself.
Yeah.
And two, when someone's vulnerable with you, respond with care.
That's great.
If how you respond, especially when the first time someone's vulnerable with you, will completely dictate, I believe, whether they will be vulnerable again or how deep their vulnerability will go.
Yep.
I think if someone comes to you and is so vulnerable and you truly show that you care, not only are they going to be willing to open up that side of them to you again, they're actually going to probably be willing to go deeper, and it's going to deeper your relationship. And I think our ability to actually serve our friends, serve our spouses, serve our coworkers, and help. But I think if someone was to come to me as a leader, or if Maddie was to come to me and they were to open up and I was like, just like laugh,
Yeah,
or like make jokes about it, or be like, wow, you struggle with that? Man, I haven't struggled with that since I was 15. You're how old? What? They're never going to come to you with that again.
Totally.
And what's funny is like, that sounds like immature. Like, oh, who would say like, oh, you still struggle with that? Like, no real adult is saying that out loud. But do you know what's wild? We say it with our facial features.
Yeah.
We say it with like our eye contact. We say it with even like the tone in which we respond.
It's great.
And I think we got to work on some of those like social cues. I know I need to.
Yeah.
Is going like, hey, can I show that I truly care by even just being like engaged in that moment? The worst is when you're like being vulnerable to somebody and they're like sitting there on their phone, not even
sure.
paying attention. And you're like, hey, over here, like, are you listening? I was kind of pouring out my heart and you're just pouring out likes on Instagram. That's awesome. Yeah, I think be vulnerable yourself.
Yep.
And then number two is care when someone's vulnerable to you.
That's great. I think one of my favorite leadership terms that we've probably all heard before, but you get what you go for.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I think as a leader, for any of us, right, that are affecting a team that we're on, affecting the atmosphere that we're on, right, if there's an atmosphere or a culture that you want, go for it.
Yep.
And lead in it. And you're going to get the thing that you go for.
Yep.
One of my favorite, I was listening to a leadership podcast a couple of years ago, and it was talking, it was like a Q&A. So this guy wrote in a question. He said, I lead a team. I've been asking them to get there earlier, and they're not getting there or to work earlier. And I loved it. The simple response was, well, then you get to work earlier. Because if you're leading the team, most competent employees are going to say, I got to be here before the boss is here. So if you want them there at 7 and you're showing up every day at 8, then they're probably going to get there at 7:50 because they're smart like that and they know to get there right before you get there. So just to lead in the way, right? Your team's always going to kind of show your own hand if you like it or not, negative or positive. Their teams are reflections of the leader. That's just how it is. So if you want your team to be a certain way, you be the certain way. So it even starts with you in that area. Dillon, give us an as you leave to close us on this episode. You can't see this.
As you leave, hey, as you think about this conversation, I think just think of one thing that you've maybe been hiding. One thing that you have just a couple inches right off that camera screen, as Braylon said earlier, that you're not telling people about, but specifically that you're maybe not talking to people that you're close to about, talking to people that you work with about, talking to people that this conversation would matter to. And so what's that one thing that maybe you're hiding? I think all of us, you're thinking about it right now. We've kind of talked about it, but you're probably thinking about that one thing right now. Just talk to somebody you're close to about it sometime this week. That's the one thing as you leave.
We love you. As always, it means so much to us that you would join. Hey, would you do us a favor and like this, comment it, maybe even share it? That would be so cool for you to say to your world, hey, give this a listen or give this a view.
Yes.
Whatever you want to do. But we love you. Have a great day. Remember to live life to the fullest.
Later.
What it do?